my name is Amelia Nashe, and I wrote and directed and exec produced What the Cat Dragged In. So essentially, it's about two lonely people meeting. It's a bit of an odd couple film, and it's about a young man who finds himself accidentally in the house of an older woman who's so lonely she's decided to perhaps take drastic action, and they end up becoming very unlikely friends and sort of saving each other from their loneliness. I think how sometimes friendship can come in the most unexpected places with the most unexpected people, and that to sort of have an open mind as well and not like stereotype people therefore when you meet them, because there's a little bit of comedy in the film with this young man who appears drunk, but there's something underneath that, and the stereotypes that we might therefore that might come into play there, really. I'm glad you enjoyed their acting. They're wonderful, wonderful actors, and they were a joy to work with. Absolutely brilliant, so lovely, and very professional. Yes, we held auditions at. It was quite interesting to organise because the location that we wanted to film in was quite remote, rural Gloucestershire. So we wanted to hold auditions in that area, and but funny enough, actually, so Alistair, who we ended up casting as Gary, he wasn't local. He was from London, and he couldn't make it out to Gloucestershire on the day of the auditions. So we invited him to send a self-tape, but the self-tape was so strong. And then we had a video call with him as well on the day to discuss it, and yeah, it was just really great performance. So even though we actually had quite a few options for Gary, in fact, Ms. Crow was the harder one because we wanted to get someone who really was the sort of age that, or close to the sort of age, or could be made to look the sort of age that we were going for. And there aren't many, there just didn't seem to be very many older women actresses around that area. But yeah, Vicky did a fantastic job, and she's mainly got a theatre background. And actually, I reached out to her to ask her to come to the auditions because a friend of mine knew her from the theatre scene in that area. So. Probably the cat. You know the old saying, like, never work with, children or animals? And also the cat outside at night. Not a great recipe for a quick shoot, really. So we were actually really lucky, though, in that regard, because after scouting around quite a few locations, because we wanted natural, genuine, like a house that could feel already like you walk in and it just feels quite like it is this home that Ms. Crow could have lived in for years, and where she could have lived with her husband previously and before he died and things. But we were very lucky because actually my co-producer's parents' house presented a wonderful opportunity, and they had several cats. So I mean, we practically had a cat casting, just like wandering around the house, taking pictures of the cats and trying to see which one would be a little bit more sort of friendly and possibly amenable to being filmed and staying still. But yeah, we did have quite a few moments where certainly in just trying to get like 2-second shot of the cat running in the right direction along the wall so that you can suggest that maybe the cat's going towards the house and under the gate was a nightmare. We had to, because the cat just did not want to run in that direction at all. So I was like holding on to the cat, and we were like, ready? And we got, I think, maybe 2 takes, because obviously then you've got to catch the cat every single time before she just wouldn't do it and just ran off and hid under a car. So and we had to coax her with food and things. It was just a whole thing. And getting her through the cat flap as well. I mean, I never thought getting a cat through a cat flap would be such a difficult task. But it really was. We had like a stunt double that I'd bought because I could see this is going to be tricky. So I bought this like model of a cat, like a curled up cat from eBay. But because of her sort of tortoiseshell colouring, we couldn't find one that fitted exactly. So our brilliant hair and makeup artist, she found a sort of paint that she could use to like custom colour the cat so that Vicky could have that in her lap at times when we didn't really need to see the cat properly. We just need to see there was something there. And then we also had like a furry tail that I pulled through the gate. So you could there's like a tiny shot of when the cat's going around the corner under the gate. That she didn't actually do that. She just ran along the road, but we just kind of whipped it through. We had 3 day shoots and 1 night shoot. So yeah, but actually we didn't even need it all. So the bits with the cat obviously you had to sort of plan, I would say double the time for anything that was indoors, and on the night shoot probably 3 times, to be honest, because we not only had, we had external factors we couldn't control because I mean, for some bizarre reason, we had 2 harvest lorries coming down the road when we were trying to film just that little bit exactly the wrong time. And then, various cars had to be moved and things to allow them to come through, and, stuff like that holds it up. So, it was, it was surprisingly short though. And actually on the last day of filming, the 4th day in total, but as I say, one of them had just been a night shoot, just like, a few hours in the evening, really. That, I'd planned out like the whole day again, but we didn't need it. We actually finished, I think, like sort of mid-afternoon type time, and went off to the pub for a kind of little mini wrap party. It felt very strange. It felt like, have we missed something? Is there like some pickup shots we need to be doing? And don't have a cat in it if you possibly can. That actually wasn't my idea to have the cat in it. I'm going to blame my co-producer for that. It was because it was sort of a slightly more monologue-y style in certain places, because originally the script is for theatre. So that was why that kind of came in as a sort of device. So it didn't feel so much the older woman was talking to herself. Yeah, like I said, plan 2 or even 3 times the time you think it would take for a night shoot, an exterior shoot, especially where you can't control the environment or it might be busy. If this was like a quiet village and we still had holdups because of traffic. So if you're in a city, I cannot imagine how nightmarish that must be. What else? I think from a writing perspective, because that's very much my first sort of, that's where the perspective I come at it from, really. Just be very open to, you will be adapting your script, just tweaking it, making little changes to suit the situation and the actors and the production constraints, right up until the last minute. I think just sort of having that spirit of collaboration about it. So, if you notice that on the day an actor's struggling with the line or on the read through or whatever it is, that's, so good to be able to have that sort of spirit of openness and collaboration, and make sure that the actors know that they can change something if it doesn't suit, if it really doesn't fit what works in their mouth almost. Sometimes just a certain phrase or way around of saying something doesn't quite fit. So yeah, they're an incredibly useful resource, your actors. So use them. Gosh, yes. I mean, my main problem is in life is like figuring out where to, which ones to prioritize first. So at the minute, I'm not sure if I can announce this yet, but I'm potentially going in with a producer peer of mine in forming a production company based around particularly focusing on disabled representation, both sort of visible and invisible disabilities and neurodiversity, which is something that's really close to my heart. So really excited about that. We've got a number of projects on our slate already up and running. So we're pitching a crime drama series to various channels and production companies. And I've got my next short film that I've had written for absolutely ages. Was planning to do something with it before COVID, and then, put it on the back burner for a bit, especially because that has a child in it. So that will be the next big challenge. And what else? Currently this year, I've been on the BBC Writers' Room talent scheme called Scottish Voices, which there are regional ones around the UK to kind of take new voices and sort of nurture the talent, really, which that's been amazing. And we're just in the last sort of few deadlines for that. So I'm writing a comedy spec script as part of that and getting some feedback from a really good script editor there. All sorts of stuff. I'm also just, as part of that, again, writing pitch for a cli-fi, like climate change sci-fi type drama series that I'm really passionate about and excited, that I want to try and take to streaming companies and things like that. Yeah, so many things. I had a theatre project as well. I had a play that was due to go on last summer, that obviously didn't because of COVID. So at some point in the future, I'll be picking that back up. And I'm also part of a musical theatre group. So yeah, and that's building towards a presentation in April. So there's a lot going on, really, basically.
Yeah.